yourself. My name is Ben, and you can heal your own body. Loving yourself, being with your pain, allowing things to be as they are. So this video, you might be uncomfortable with how you really felt in your past life, before you had your shift into your new life with your spiritual awakening. What drove you to your spiritual awakening? So this video I'm going to be talking about, you hate people, you hate the world, it's coming up. Now, you don't need to shy away from that. That's how you felt at that point in time in your past. Mine's got a massive to do with how I felt in my job. I was in a job that gave me no satisfaction whatsoever. I used to get up in the morning, put the key in the car, and I was nearly sick. But it drove me to my awakening. I hated just going to work. Some of the people I worked with, everything, the world, it was just like one big heavy burden. So if you're feeling like that, allow it. It's gonna come up. You notice I talk a lot about this irritability in what I do now. I do garden work now. It seems strange from what I used to go to a shirt and tie job, and then coming to gardening was like, wow, but that's what the numbers were showing me. And the same patterns were coming up of how I used to feel in my previous job. You know, always explaining myself, always people's opinions and viewpoints of what you were doing. So I begin to hate people. Will you leave me alone? I used to think. Now, if you're finding this video, the chances are that I don't like to use this word as a sensitive person, but let's look at it another way, is the bit in your stomach right down here is where you pick all people's emotions up. That's how you go around your life. You sense things through your body. Well, the likelihood is that that area of your body is turned up a little bit more than other people's. And that's the case for me. My twin flame says your sensitivity in that area is turned up like 1,000 times more than hers. And that's why I begin to find this world so frustrating. Because if I'm standing next to somebody, I will get what they're really thinking about internally. They're suffering. I know when people are dying and they're self-sabotaging themselves, and that's making them ill. So I could see why that made me so angry and frustrated with the world. I don't really hate people, and nor do you. But what you don't like is how it makes you feel. And that's what I don't like. It's still the same now. I'm in my attic in my house. If I'm going to go out in a minute, I'll pick it up. But that frustration comes up, and it's not going to go away. It's just allowing the feeling to be there and releasing it. It will be released with the breath. If you have a look at my other videos, you can release your resentment for the world and how you felt. But it's welcome it, because that's what's made you awake. You'd suffered enough. You'd suffer enough of pain and the world and the misery and the falseness in others. But that's not their fault. You've got it, but you're not unconscious to it now. So, if you're feeling like that, if you're feeling that you hate the world, you hate certain people, allow the feeling. It's how you feel. It's going to come up in your dark night of your soul. In your new life, you're going to have the same pattern come up. Allow it to be there, and it will pass. Don't be reactive. Just how you felt. And mine was to do with my job. And I'd like to talk about that now. If you're watching this and you're in a job that you hate. And that's a strong word to use, but that's how I felt. I was very good at my previous job. I was well respected. They were shocked when I left. But I felt so empty inside. I felt, what is this about? And that was my soul. My body was shutting down at that point in time. It was weird. I was losing my hair and everything. So if you're feeling like this, I'm not suggesting you quit your job, but listen to your body. If you're feeling sick, you can't stand it. I was like a caged animal. I used to resonate with that film Falling Down with Michael Douglas, where he loses it, doesn't he? Because he's raging in that car at the start, isn't he? And that's how I felt. Groundhog Day, going into the same thing. It's not healthy for your mind, your soul, your health. Now, you might be trapped. It took me 2 years before I left. But it's far more freeing to be in the unknown now. Where am I going? With synchronicities, numbers, I don't even know. I've been called to do these videos. I do psychic readings now. Never thought I'd do that. But being stuck in the hamster wheel is not good for your soul. It's not good for that. And that's the reason that you hate the world and you hate certain people. You don't really. You're just building up resentment from that particular situation. And it's going to come up in your new life. You don't really hate what you're doing, or it's just the same wound coming up to be released. You think I was in a job for 10 years not unhappy, so that's a lot to be released. And you're probably feeling that way too. But be kind to yourself. If you're extremely sensitive, like I am, you have to have your time out, away from frequencies, away from the world, the internal baggage that people carry around. You even know what they're thinking, how they're feeling. You even know the next move. So you can see why it's tiring you out. You know when you're really sensitive. It's raining on my window now outside, and even that makes my stomach go. So you know what it's like to go out in that world. So be kind to yourself. If you're feeling that way, you don't really feel that way about people. It's just you don't like how it makes you feel. It makes you feel uncomfortable. So allow it, if you can, to be there. Don't allow it to rise up and make you reactive. And that's where you become, you didn't even know you were doing it. You become lost in the world and in time again. So be kind to yourself. It's fine to have those thoughts. They're not you. They're past, angry, frustrated thoughts about your unhappy times. But in the dark night of the soul, you'll get into that. Go into it. Allow it. Move into it. Because that's where your world will just become joyful. Just become joyful in unscrewing that top off that paint. Look at the paint bubbling. Look at that. Just little things. Smell of the paint. Little noise. One thing at a time. And your world will become so much more joyful when you can step out of that frequency of your angry thoughts and become still, and in your inner world and not lost in that outer world. That's what made you angry. The collective anger that you pick up because you're so sensitive. Just makes you reactive. So have your time out, do your painting or whatever you're going to be doing. And you know you are not your thoughts and emotions.